There's another cool way that you can adjust the colors in an image, and that is by using the color balance. Only the color balance is a little different than the hue and saturation sliders because it's going to tell you if you either add a color or subtract a color. So let's go ahead and look at that. Click on Image at the top, go to Adjustments, and then click on Color Balance, Control B or Command B. And what this does is it allows us to tell if we want the shadows, midtones, or highlights to have a color more or less. So if we have it on midtones, it's going to take all the mid levels, not the dark shadows or the highlights. We have it set to midtones. And we can either add red and take away cyan, or add cyan and take away red, and that works all the way down the list. So if we bump up the reds here, you can see that it moves the reds equally across the whole image, and we add more red into all of the midtones of this image. And we can also add more cyan to all of this image. By adding more cyan, some of that red disappears there. The same thing with magenta and green. So this is a great way to adjust these one or the other. And then of course blue and yellow. And you can do this on an individual basis for the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. So if we wanted to adjust the highlights of this image, we clicked on that and say we wanted to give all of these highlights more of a blue color, we can do that. And say we wanted to give all of these highlights of this image a more of a blue color, we can click on the highlights button and bump up the blue, and you can see that all those highlight hotspots got a little more blue. Same thing with the shadows. If we wanted to say give it all the shadows more of a yellow, we can do that here also. So this is going to work across the board, and the final setting here is preserve luminosity, which is basically the brightness, the highlights that you see here. So if we turn that off, it won't preserve the luminosity as you begin making these adjustments. So this is just another way for you to adjust colors with your image or your individual layers. Here you're doing it on the basis of shadows, midtones, and highlights versus doing it on a per channel basis and by adding in red or cyan, green or magenta or blue or yellow.